Hi friends, welcome back to day 18 of our 28 Days of Pilates challenge. We're back to our body tonic off the mat challenge today. So we're looking at planks, everybody's favourite. So plank, one of the most efficient exercises that you can do. This is a full body exercise that will strengthen and tone and work your entire body from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. It is the exercise that has it all. And if you can slip one or two planks into a day, then you're going to be doing something so good for your body in the long road. So we'll have a little look, as always, a quick little look at plank technique, some modifications that you can make as well, depending on what level that you're at, because they are quite challenging. Like I say, you need quite a lot of upper body strength as well as the lower body strength to be able to hold a plank. But you want to know what the challenge is, right? Okay, so 3 planks today, over the course of today, any way you like, and you've got to hold it for 30 seconds if you can. Again, it's going to be massively dependent on what level you're at, and as always, it is a challenge, but the most important thing is to not focus on the length of time. The most important thing is to focus on the form, because with the correct form, as I've said many times in these little videos, with the correct form and the correct attention to things like precision and function, then it doesn't matter how long you can hold that plank. You could hold that plank for 10 seconds, and holding a well-rounded, efficient plank for 10 seconds is so much more better for you than holding a plank for 60 seconds and losing all sense of connection and what's happening in your body. That's just doing nobody any good. So it's not really the length of time. I've said 30 seconds, mainly because we did a 30-day plank challenge, and I know there's some guys in this that did the challenge that will be up for this, but you can hold it for as long or as little as you need. When you start to feel like you are losing the connections, let go of the ego and come out of the move. Don't listen to that voice that says, just stay in it, it's 30 seconds, you can do another 5. It's no good unless it's a proper, well-rounded, efficient plank. That said, let's take a little look at some things that are quite good to know about how you can pull yourself into one of those super efficient planks. So here we are on the mat. So let's look at the upper body first, talk you through the plank, and then some modifications depending on what level you're at, because there's lots of different ways you can plank. Everybody just thinks the full plank, but nope, if you're new, then I'm going to show you what else you can do that will benefit you just as well as doing the full plank. So just to come into a 4-point kneeling, this is always a great position to start in, especially if you are new, just to allow you to work out how to get the alignment right. So the alignment, like the squats, like the lunges, are really important for transference of force through the body, okay? So if you practice this, knees under your hips, wrists under your shoulders, you have got that head up on top of your spine, so the head is not hanging here. We see this in plank a lot. That head needs to be up, and I'll tell you why in a little second. The other thing you want to think about is the creases of your elbows. So you don't want to kind of push the elbows forward. Think about rotating those creases to smile towards one another. So they're facing each other. So you've got a little kind of soft bend in those elbows. So I'll say that again. You've got to rotate, but as you rotate from your arm bone in the shoulder joint. Don't just rotate your elbow. You've got to think about that. Press into the hands and then rotate from the shoulder joint. So it's the right way to rotate, as opposed to just kind of moving the elbows again, like the knee. It's a little vulnerable joint. You don't want to transfer the wrong forces through that. Once you've got that right, then the forces will transfer kind of more evenly through all of the joints there, and that's what you want. This is a big move for your wrists. So if you have wrist discomfort or your wrists feel quite fragile, then this is going to be a challenging one for you. So again, I'll show you can do this standing against the wall, which will be less load through your wrists. The other thing I recommend sometimes is to ball your fists and to come up onto your knuckles, which is much more comfortable for your wrist. The other thing you can do is roll your mat back, and then you can soften that angle. So have the wrists here and the fingers or the palm of the hand on the floor, which just softens the angle a little bit here. You're in a wrist extension in a plank. We don't spend a lot of time in wrist extension. We're in wrist flexion more than we are wrist extension, which is why a lot of people find it difficult. The other thing you want to think about, and this relates to the head on the spine, is to transfer that weight kind of centrally through the middle of the hand, okay? So think about, as we would on our feet, the balls of the hand pressing down into the mat, and really think about the pinky side and the outside edge of the hand as well. So as you're picking up and connecting to the muscles up the outside edge of the arm and down the outside edge of the body as well. Now, like I said, this relates to the head. Your head has to be up here. If your head is hanging down here, it's going to cause an imbalance across your shoulder girdle, across the shoulder blade. You want to keep your head up to ensure that you're going to activate the right muscles here. So you want the muscles of the upper back, around the scapula, around the shoulder blades, to be supporting your shoulder and your upper body. And then you want that muscle set, so the serratus, the neck muscles connect through the upper back into your serratus around here, which connects into your oblique muscles through the front of the body. If your head is hanging off of your spine, the muscles through the upper back are gonna have to start doing the work to support your neck, which means you're not going to pick up that connection through the serratus, through the obliques, okay? So really important in the plank, the head stays on top of the spine at all times. My eye gaze is just forward of my hands. Then you've got your rib to hip connection, and I think you know what's going on there. Get your braces on. You're going to keep that last rib to the top of the pelvis. And then when you step back into your plank, you slide the leg and you open your hip and the back of the knee as well. So again, if you are new and you want to just practice your form, you come into 4-point kneeling, and all you're going to do is think of keeping that head up, keeping that upper back active, so the shoulder blades have not sunk in towards one another, they are up and active. Just focus on sliding the leg back and then drawing the leg back in. And that will allow you to feel what it's like to position yourself to come into plank. Notice whether your pelvis shifts excessively to one side. If it does, square it off. You can pop your hands to your hip bones at any point to check that that pelvis is square. If you start to rotate, then just bring it back. Imagine there's a line down the center of your mat, and you're going to stay in line with that center point. You're not going to deviate. You're not going to rotate over from each side. You've got to stay in. So that involves a lot of the core and muscles of the trunk here working to keep you in that position, okay, that facing downwards position, no rotation. So yeah, it's the hip, knee, ankle alignment that's really important here. So you're not taking your leg out to the side, you're not crossing it, moving it across the body. It's a straight line from the hip, and you're fully extending your hip, okay? So that hip's going to be fully open. We're not here, it's fully open, both sides. So you can just practice that to give you a little bit of work. If you are ready and want to take the full plank, we're pretty much there. This is what you got focused on. So you would slide one leg back, press back into the heel, breathe out, center. So draw that belly button up and away from the mat, and take your other leg back. You've got to open the hips. Yeah, so we're not piking up. We've not lowered down here, so I'm not overextending in my back. That's going to hurt your back. You've got to think of that long line from the shoulder all the way down to the ankle, yeah? So planking. And then the hips are open, but they're not extended down and they're not piked up. It's that lovely openness through the hips here, okay? Eye gaze forward, strong plank, softening, check your alignment through the arms, spiraling that weight down the center of the hand, pressing into the pinky side and the thumb. And then you're holding and you're breathing. When you start to feel like you're losing it, knees down, rest position, okay? So there's quite a lot to go through in the plank. This is a big exercise. Like I said, it's huge. Full body, everything is working, the whole body. Modifications. So, spoken to you about what you can do with the wrists. So that was a full plank, obviously. If you want to modify, once you feel comfortable, you can hold the 4-point and you can extend your hip or your leg, and you know what you're doing there. Then you can start to walk the knees behind your hips, and you can do a modified plank here. So in that case, I would suggest bringing the inner thighs together. Legs can be up or down, and you can plank here. Focused on that rib to hip connection. Draw the ribs down to the pelvis, press equally into those hands, and you can hold that little plank in this position. The legs can be up as well, it doesn't matter. Good. The most important thing is that you've got those connections in the body and you know what you're doing. Keep that head up. Watch for the head tipping. It wants to tip. Keep it up. Head on top of spine. So that's a modification. The other one you can do is come to a wall and plank against the wall, really straightforward. You're just going to pop your hands on the wall and step your feet back until you feel like you've got that connection in your body. You feel like your core is working and you've got your upper body supporting you. You've got all the connections through the arm and the shoulder girdle, the shoulder blade, sorry. If I can show you quickly, hopefully you can still see me. Hands would be here, and then you're just going to walk your legs back to where you can feel, like I say, that connection through the ribs, the shoulders. So just pop your arms out in line with your shoulders, pop your hands onto the wall, make sure your hands are clean, and then walk your feet back. And this again is a really good, if you're new to planking, just stare straight ahead at the wall for the position of the head on the spine. If you're new to planking, this is a really good one to do, just to get this connections in a safe way. Watch you don't bend in, watch you don't stick your bum out, that nice long line through the side of the body. Okay, that is it. That's your little tutorial on planking. A lot to cover there. Watch this as many times as you need. Any questions, let me know. Don't forget to come into our Facebook group and share how long you're planking for, anything you've learned about planking, if you're loving it, if you're hating it, what version you're doing, any modifications you've made. Let's all learn together. So pleased you're here. I'll see you on your mat tomorrow.